All right, we are live. We did it.
It happened.
It happened. All right, good afternoon, GitOpsians. I'm like rushing through this. My brain is. I woke up. My colleague said I woke up spicy today, but then that meant that now I'm like, I'm on the down. So let's see. A couple quick announcements. The first is that the calls for proposals for the co-located events on Kubecon closed December 3rd. And so there is an ArgoCon again this year. I am going to put that into the chat. Look at me go. I am all like ready with that. Ignore the little pound anchor thing. We don't care. But yeah, so call for proposals for that closes Sunday, December 3rd. That is this Sunday. I don't know what time that is. It's not a time zone specified. So anyway, so get those talks in. Be in Paris. It'll be exciting. I hope to be there. We're working on it. So that's the main one. Other announcement is look at this sweater that Christian Hernandez sent me.
So jealous.
I am like, I literally took a picture of it when I opened the box. I took a picture of it. I did not know this was coming. This was a surprise. I opened the box. I took a picture of this and I was like, oh my God, you love me. And I sent that to him. And he's like, yeah, you got it. And I was like, yes, I did. There was other stuff he sent me in that box too. Like cool things, like another Code Fresh t-shirt, which I did need because my children had taken every previous Code Fresh t-shirt I had received. On that note, I finally got this one back from my child, this Argo. This is an Intuit plushie, but this Argo plushie with the vacation. I finally got this back from my kid. It took a year. So other announcements. We are going to have to change not the day of the week, but the time of this stream. So we still will have the stream actually next week instead of every other week. We're doing it next week on December 7th. Next week's topic is we're going to get an overview of how CI works for operating systems from a very specific operating system. And I'm not going to spoil it any further than that. But it is a flavor of Linux. It's actually kind of a flavor of Fedora as well. So that'll be exciting. Keep an eye out on everything there. We'll be joined by George Castro for that. And he's going to be the smart person in the room that tells us the things we've wanted to know. I am still really hoping that we can get somebody to teach us about how like CI or CD or all of that whole stuff works for video games. I am trying to find this for us because I want to know about that. I'm curious. I would like to learn that. So if you know anybody, please send me information. Or if you are somebody, please send me some information. We would love to have you on the show to talk about that. It would make my day. And that would likely be, it might be at the end of December before we all head out for PTO. Iffy. That's very iffy. It'll depend on how we end up rescheduling. So, but after next week, coming into the new year, GitOps Guide will be on the same day of the week, but we will have a different time, probably earlier in the day. So just, there is a public calendar. You may have noticed that I actually keep it up to date. I'm not fantastic at it, but I do remember to change it when we change it. So keep an eye on the public calendar. We'll drop the link in the chat for that in a minute. And yeah, I think, sorry, I don't know if you all can hear the meowing of my cat.
I can hear it, and I think it's funny. So.
My husband's, okay, so my husband's cat lives in my office because she is afraid of all people except for me. She loves me. But she's afraid of all other people. And he loves her. So this mid-morning, about an hour ago, he brought her down a little toy mouse with catnip in it. And he gave her this catnip toy today during my working hours. And so she is absolutely in catnip land right now and is telling me all about how the catnip has made her very happy. And she doesn't sound happy, but she is. Yeah. So he did that to me today. This is an old So for her to be like this right now, like this level of hyper, she is 14. She is old as dirt. Like she's
Oh yeah, that's really old.
this is nuts. So this is, and at least she's not skittering around at the moment. She's meowing at me and like weaving between my legs and popping up and doing this and like just all the cat things, right? That cats do.
Yeah.
But then every so often she goes back to like skittering around with the toy, and like every now and again she'll crash into something really loudly. I fear for her. She's gonna take down these bookshelves one day, I swear. She is an earthquake.
So my dog Bear, he's a American Rottweiler, and he's like, I think he's 11, and he's blind, and so like he runs into everything. Like he'll, it's sad, but it's funny at the same time because like he'll just be walking, like he'll nail a chair, and he like looks at you like, why'd you put that there? You know, like.
Okay, so my Rottweiler was half German, half American, and he was 125 pounds. This dog was bigger than I was.
Yeah.
How much does your Rottweiler weigh?
So he's at one point he got up to about like 110, 115, but he got diabetes, and so now he's like 75. Like
Oh, wow.
he's a shell of the dog he used to be. Where Heidi, my German Ruddy, was probably 105 pounds, and yeah, just a monster.
Yeah, I love that the doorbell rings. Neither Rottweiler sounds off,
Yeah,
whatever
the
the
little
other
freaking
one
pug.
is.
It's a pug.
Oh, of course, it's a pug. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how my Rottweiler was. Nothing. That dog barked at almost nothing. Like very little phased him. If he barked, it was like, oh, something happened.
Yeah. Like if they see something, like, well, not Bear because he doesn't see anything, but if Heidi sees like someone in our backyard, then she's like, "Roar!" She goes insane. But like the little one, if he sees like the trees moving from the wind, you get this.
Yeah, yeah. What I have had happen it's happened on streams, it's happened on podcasts I recorded as well, is if there's sirens, my dogs will howl in chorus to sirens.
Good.
And you will that breaks through every noise filter ever because it's all pitches. It's very high pitched, it's very low pitched. There's three of them, and they get like a nice little like harmony going that is like makes your ears bleed. And yeah, they do that.
Make it stop.
Yeah, no, they do that. It's really funny. This is actually something that my Rottweiler taught my German Shepherd to do. Because in my original pack, I had a Rottweiler, a German Shepherd, or not a German Shepherd, sorry. I had a Rottweiler, a Siberian Husky Collie mix, and a Siberian Husky. And then when that Husky Collie mix was getting old, we got a German Shepherd. So then my pack was a Rottweiler, a German Shepherd, and a Siberian Husky. And it was like the beginning of a bad bar joke.
Yeah.
I would take them places together, and people would ask me if I was like a foster dog, like rescue person. I was like, no, these are just mine. I'm
a glutton for punishment. Yes.
I'm a glutton for punishment. I like all the difficult dogs. But yeah, so the Siberian Huskies never howled, and then the Rottweiler howled, so the other two started doing it. So then the German Shepherd picked up the howling from the Rottweiler, and so the older dogs, of course, all eventually passed. And so my pack has transitioned now, and it's the German Shepherd, a Shepherd Husky, and a Malamute Labrador mix, or Husky Malamute Labrador mix, because she's got blue eyes, but she's big. She is my smallest dog at 65 pounds. And so, yeah, no, my Shepherd, my full-blooded Shepherd is like, he was 84. He is now 81 because he's getting old, so he's lost a little bit of weight. And then I like that this is now Hillary's dog's live stream and nothing about Argo or GitOps at all.
It's how it goes sometimes.
It's how it goes sometimes. The cat quieted down. So so the howling though, the howling has transitioned from previous pack to new pack, and is that's fun to see what little habits that have transitioned through the German Shepherd, who is the bridge between the generations.
Well, it'd be cool to see if you have another, like another pack, or as your pack morphs down the road, right? If they continue that trend, that'd be kind of cool, especially with the Shepherd being gone and somebody else picking it up.
I don't think I'm getting another pack, because at the same time, this pack kind of will be aging out of the mortal realm, ascending beyond the mortal coil, if you will. My children will be aging out of my house. They will be about 18 and about 22. If like my estimates are correct. Could happen sooner. Obviously things happen, but somebody could get sick with so forth. But anyway, dogs, not children. If my children get sick, you'll never hear from me again. Like the world will I'll just be done.
Yeah. Oh,
But the
man,
dogs will
yes.
survive it. Anyway, so I'll be hitting that same thing. And like, I have 2 cats, and the cats are both 14. They'll turn 15 in April. Like, I will not have responsibilities. And I don't think I'm going to want more, if I'm honest with you.
That's where I'm at. I mean, honestly, that's exactly where I'm at. Like once these dogs are gone, I'm like, all right, because it takes so much. If you want to leave, like you have to put them in a kennel, or you have to have somebody come take care of them, and you have to make sure that that person is responsible. You know what I mean? Like there's just all this extra stuff. You can't
Mhm.
just up and leave. Like you know how it was before you had kids, like where you just like, hey, you want to go? Like, all right, yeah, let's go. And then you just grab your stuff and you leave, and you don't think about it. I want to get back to that. Like
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
selfish, and I want to get back to that because life was good back then.
Yeah. I'm ready. I'm ready to experience that again. I'm ready to experience it again, for sure. Anyway, speaking of being selfish and getting up and leave, we both did that when we went to Chicago for
Yeah.
Kubecon North America, which is really what we were planning on discussing this stream. So it's just people can just skip past the announcements, past the dogs into the now. now's the worthwhile time. Where is the timestamp? We'll timestamp that at like 12:12. Oh, nice. 12:12. So yeah. KubeCon. I was excited. First of all, the most important thing is the plushies. We're just gonna talk about
yeah.
swag for a minute, because this was a very good swag con. So I won the claw machine and I got the sneak plushie. And I was very excited about that because I didn't get that in Europe, and Christian did. And then the Acuity Argo with his little shield.
Yeah.
We also got pictures with that. The Acuity had like this full, like looked like Captain America shield, but with the Acuity logo on it. Like it was heavy too.
Yeah.
Like really good quality.
Yeah, their
Really,
booth was hooked up, right? I mean, like they had like the everything.
that was a great booth.
Mhm.
So we all got pictures with that. That is my favorite picture. By the way, Johnny, you're my official photographer now, because the pictures you took of me were the best pictures anybody took
Nice.
of me.
Nice.
So like that's it. You win. I need to crop that a little bit and make that I don't know. I don't think they'll let me make that my GitOps Guide to the Galaxy photo. I think I'd get in trouble for doing another company's logo on that. But
just blur it, like
blur it, censor it. That would work.
Well, I mean, honestly, it's just a shield, so it's not like they're really gonna know. I mean, like, I don't know, were you holding it a certain way? I don't think it says Acuity on it, so yeah, I think.
No, I just had the A. Yeah, I could probably get away with it. No, I don't think anybody from the Red Hat corporate branding watches this. They'll never know.
Yeah. It's totally fine.
So yeah, no, theirs was great. A while ago, we had Robusta come on the stream, right? And Robusta is an open source observability company. I like their solution a lot. I think they do cool stuff. So I stopped by their booth to say hello and hand them GitOps Guide to the Galaxy mugs. And they had a helm to hold and pose with. So I got a picture of that. And they have a really great, I don't have it handy. Oh, that was a shame. I should have had this ready to go. They had like a sailor hat that said Chief YAML Officer with like a sailor captain on it. And they also had a shirt of the same. And so I got one of each of those because they were great. I'm hoping to have them back on because they're offering, like it's been at least a year since they've been on. And like their offering is so cool, still open source, which is such a neat thing for a startup. Mm-hmm. So then the helm picture turned out pretty good, not gonna lie. But you didn't take it, so it didn't turn out as good.
Yeah, it could have been better.
It could have been better.
Still solid, right?
Still, yeah. From 8 of 10. 8 of 10.
Yeah, room for improvement. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
And so yeah, that booth was really great. Mm-hmm. I did stop by the Pipe Kit booth and say hello to them. They gave me socks, which I love getting socks. That is one of my favorite swag items. They're very practical. I always need them.
And they fit easy in the bag, right? I mean, like you just throw them in. You don't have to manipulate anything. You just slap them in.
Yeah, they travel well. You don't even have to put them in a bag. Wear them on your feet.
Yeah. Layer up.
Yeah. It was cold in Chicago, at least for me. It was cold for me. So yeah, so that was a great booth. I think I had never heard of Red Panda before. Red Panda won in terms of best t-shirt.
Yes.
I should have had the swag like ready to go so I could show this off, but I'm not gonna. I wouldn't want to do that. But yeah, no, they absolutely won best t-shirt. Their logo, their design is very cool.
Yeah.
It's very fun, and the t-shirt was very soft.
Yeah, I get tons of comments on it. I wore it, and a lot of people around here don't know what half the stuff is that we wear. And everyone's like, "Oh my god, that shirt is awesome!" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's Red Panda." They're like, "What's Red Panda?" I'm like, "I don't know, but it's they
I
got
don't
a cool
remember
logo."
what they do. I don't remember what they do. I'm not gonna lie. Somebody look it up and tell me what Red Panda does because I forget, and I feel really bad about that because they gave me a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if you saw this on LinkedIn. The Acuity CEO, somebody had taken a picture of my backpack with their little guy clipped onto it, and then my water bottle was in there with the Argo sticker very visible, and the GitOps Guide to the Galaxy sticker very not.
Nice.
Anyway, I saw that on LinkedIn. I was like, hey, that's me. You can't tell it's me. I know it's me.
That's awesome.
It was fun. I was like, yay, that's cool. If only my GitOps Guide to the Galaxy sticker had not been hidden by the mesh of the bag.
Yeah, I started kind of doing what you did a little bit, where I got both the live streams on there. I got my OpenShift sticker. Cloud AI, they have the best freaking stickers of all time. So like, I went to Open Source Summit in Austin, and they had just like a dozen or so varieties of this like kind of cloud sticker here. And the one that they had at Chicago, it was like one was a cloud with the Chicago Cubs hat on. One was like a cloud with the skyline and stuff like that. Like they do a good job. Their marketing team is on point.
I came back with a sticker stack this big. I haven't even sorted through it all yet. I have to figure out. I need to get a new water bottle because my other water bottle is full.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get like the freaking big gulp water bottle now to fit all the stickers on there.
Yeah, well, and so the thing about that particular water bottle is it was given to me at a conference, so it became by default my conference water bottle. So it just it's my conference go bag. Yes, I have a conference go bag. I'm a nerd. I like being prepared.
You were talking about like there was something you said when we were there, and I was like, oh yeah, that's a good idea about the dude that has the like moleskin notebook, and then he puts the stickers in it, kind of like a passport.
Yes, yeah.
I'm like, man, that's a good idea. That really is a good idea.
That is I forget his name right now, and I feel bad because I literally just talked to him. Yeah, I think I picked up that sticker too.
Yeah, they're awesome. Like their whole branding thing.
Yeah. But he works for the CNCF. Nate.
Was it Jeremy?
No, I think
no. Okay.
Yeah, he works for the CNCF. That's what he does. So he has like the sticker, and then he has like where he got it and like just information. It's like a very cool. It's just like it's like a little notebook like this, right?
Yeah.
And it's just all stickers. This one's empty. But yeah, no, that was a
fancy little book.
Yeah. Where did I get it? Okay, so I joined at such a weird time at Red Hat where like they were not doing any swag stuff or really anything like that. And so a bunch of my colleagues over the time I have been here, Christian among them, have like organized swag boxes to be sent to me. So my colleague, I won't say who, he knew somebody who managed the swag stash at the Waterford, Ireland office. And I got a little welcome package because I worked with a bunch of people over there. I got a little welcome package, and there were two of these notebooks. I got some pens, a pencil, a coffee mug. I got a backpack.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
I got good stuff. My kid is using that backpack right now, and I'm trying to figure out. I need to buy him a new one and trade him back for that backpack because it was my conference backpack.
Yeah.
And although it's small, and obviously with the swag haul that we had this time, I was glad for the big backpack.
My God, yeah.
I didn't even bring my laptop. It was all swag.
See, I had my laptop. I still had stuff, and I was like, damn, because I didn't think I was gonna get that much. I was like, all right, I'll probably get a few things, but like nothing crazy. I had like a dozen T-shirts or something like that. I mean, it was insane. It got to the point where I was telling people, I'm like, I can't take a crap. Like, I don't have any more room. Like, it's just not gonna happen. Like, swollen with my backpack. I'm like, oh my God, I'm dying.
And then they had the giraffe hoodie. I forget the name of that giraffe.
Yeah.
I had that giraffe hoodie at the store, and I bought that because giraffes are my favorite animal. And it was texted to me by my friend who knows they're my favorite animal. And he was like, you need to see this. And I was like, oh, there goes my money. Like, just gone. Take my money. That's adorable.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with it. But yeah, no, my kids, well, I go home, my kids like tech swag, right? They will just wear it. Like I said, they're rolling around in Code Fresh t-shirts.
Yeah.
And so and they're rolling around in Red Hat t-shirts too. They both use Red Hat backpacks for their like school bags. Anyway, so and one of them, he's got one of the Shadow Man bags as well. So
Oh yes, the old school one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he's got that. I gave him that bag and I kept a different Shadow Man bag for myself. And then my Shadow Man bag is starting to get worn out. And I'm like trying to steal back the one I gave to him. And he's like, no,
Yeah.
You may not have this.
Like reaching in the door, he like stops you.
Yeah. So they're rolling around. They're rolling around all the tech swag. Like we live in the Bay Area, so this makes sense.
Mhm.
Nobody questions this at all. But yeah, so that was good. And then we went to some talks, right? So the talks were really great. So because I'm a member of the Code of Conduct Committee for Kubernetes, I did go to the Contributor Summit. And that was really awesome to be part of and get to like see what some of like the long-term plans were, like short-term and long-term plans for various parts of the Kubernetes projects. I think a couple highlights I took from that was they're going to start introducing like long-term support for various versions of Kubernetes. So, right now it's like the life cycle is, I don't remember, like 12 months or something for a version.
Mm-hmm.
Certain versions with certain key features, they're going to decide are going to get an additional like 12 months of support. So it's not going to be every version of Kubernetes, but it's going to be some. I'm not sure how like fleshed out that process fully is yet, but like that's great news because a lot of enterprise users are switching to Kubernetes or, also in our cases, OpenShift, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they need those longer support timelines because it's just part of their way of doing business. So I thought that was great. I think that's great news for the community. It's great news for the consumers of the technology. There goes the cat skittering around with her toy again. I don't know if you can hear that.
A little bit. It's not too bad. Yeah, it's good that they did that though, because like not everybody can move that fast, and I think that if you're trying to keep up, like, especially if you've done any type of financial institution work or any government work or anything like that, like it's just not as easy as yum update or go get the latest stuff and do your thing. It's a painful process, and so to get just a minor update can take a long time.
Yeah,
especially put my professional mouth back on.
Yeah, especially with the like you said, like government or fintech, anything highly regulated where you need to be able to maintain certain levels of security, and like they have regular security audits on all that stuff too. So like, if you update a version of Kubernetes and this whole new dependency is added, and that adds this whole other layer of complication to maintaining your compliance, which you're going to be expected to maintain to stay in business, or
pay a
I
fine.
don't know about government agencies, like pay a fine. I don't know for government agencies and what happens if they go out of compliance with government regulation. Like I literally have no clue. I've never worked at a government agency. It can't be good.
It's sometimes it's like it really kind of depends on the situation, right? Like if it's like your first time, right? What they'll do is they'll give you an extension and they'll say, hey, by this time, you need to get this thing fixed. But after a while, right, you either have to document like I'm accepting this risk as an organization, or go out and get the update and then make it happen, and then go recertify if you had to do that. Most times they take it like it's if it's a massive change, like say you're going from OpenShift 3 to OpenShift 4, right? That's a huge change, right? So that would take like basically a reaccreditation, and that's what it would boil down to.
Yeah, and that's happening with I know for a fact that's something that's happening with the hosted control planes. So folks may have seen hosted control planes will GA in December on for ROSA, so Red Hat OpenShift AWS offering. This is one of those cool projects that I have been aware of since basically since its inception. Like I happened to join Red Hat and the SRE group at that time where this project was coming up. So this is one of those cool things, right? Let's talk about hosted control planes for a minute. Right. Let's talk about this for a minute. What we have done is we've taken that right now, if you are an OpenShift user, you will know that there are master nodes and worker nodes. And when you are using the managed service offering of OpenShift, the SRE stuff, our opinions that help us support your entire platform, all of that we run on the master node. So we isolate, right? Everything is there, and then customer workloads don't land on the master nodes at all.
Yep.
So what that means, though, is that you're paying for all this compute, and some of this compute is utilized by us, and we wanted to be able to make that more cost efficient. So one, we've been obviously continuing to work on keeping our footprint very small as possible, so that we're not spending compute unnecessarily. But two, that's where hosted control planes, or we called it Hypershift initially. I think it's like the repo may still be called Hypershift. That's where this comes in, right? And so what we've done is we said, okay, we're going to have one cluster, and it's just control planes, and then customers only have to run the workers. And so this is that's what it is. So you're not paying, like your cloud spend isn't going towards our compute anymore. You're still paying for us, the SREs, to do the things and manage the platform and keep it alive and make sure your API server is available 99.95% of the time, or all whatever the SLA is. I think that's the SLA, but I don't know. Don't quote me. I'm not the business expert. I don't sign contracts. I'm not a reliable witness. Yeah, it's already on Twitter. It's done. Right. So that's really exciting, right? We've been working on this a long time.
Yeah.
It was technically very challenging. It was operationally very interesting. It is operationally very interesting. We basically have taken etcd and convinced it that it's multi-tenant, or rather we've hidden from etcd that it's multi-tenant.
Right.
We're using it as if it can be multi-tenant when it's not. This is actually a conversation that, looping back to the contributor summit, I went to one of the etcd talks. We're like, what if etcd is multi-tenant? And I was like, hey, we did this. Not exactly, because like we wallpapered over it, so etcd doesn't know it's being multi-tenant. But we did this. So we learned a lot about scale and all this other stuff with it. So you should come talk to us more about what we did here, so we can share our learnings. Because from my perspective as an SRE who's responsible for putting out this product, and indirectly responsible, right? I'm a team lead for one of the SRE groups, so like, yes, it's something that's in my purview, but fortunately not the thing I'm directly accountable for. I'm accountable for other stuff. But anyway, I don't want to claim ownership of other people's very hard work, but it is something that is like falls under my general domain of knowledge.
Right.
But anyway, so as an SRE who's partially responsible for the success of this product and so forth, I would love to see some of the stuff we've done in terms of understanding scale and everything at etcd make it back into the core etcd product, right? Then we can wallpaper over less, reduce our overhead, our overall technical debt. Everything's better when you choose your technical debt. It's sustainable. So
that's right.
As I told him, I was like, come talk to us. And then somebody else who was an OpenShift engineer was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, okay, we hid the fact from etcd that it is multi-tenant, but we've convinced it to be by doing that. It's just a little bit of magic in the middle. So that was cool. Hosted control planes is really neat. I'm really excited. It's finally GA'd, or finally is about to GA. Let's get that timing correct. It is about to GA.
And so real quick, I just want to like comment on that too. So like just for that comment, it'll GA in Rosa. I think it's GA for bare metal. If you're doing like self-managed AWS, that's still going to be like, it might be 4.15, it might be 4.16. It's on the roadmap, but like self-managed hosted control planes in AWS is still tech preview. Just keeping that in mind. And the other thing, it's like cost savings, right? Like my group, our cloud spend was crazy, right? It was insane, and so we moved to a 3-node Hypershift cluster, right? And then we used that as basically our core, and we just spin up clusters as we need. And we tear them down, and it probably dropped our cloud spend by like 65%, something like that. I mean, it was insane. We tried doing the ARM thing, but I think it was a little too new. I'd still like to kind of go back and see if we can't maybe like chip a little bit more. But it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I've heard that there are still people experimenting with this on bare metal. Like it's not gone away. It's certainly not the highest priority item, right, in terms of what's going on. But my understanding is there's still people experimenting with it here and there to figure out what our story is going to be there. It should be. I mean, theoretically, it should be possible. I don't see why it can't be. It's just there's going to be some technical implications. There might be like little implementation details, some sort of I don't know. We have to changes, some environmental awareness that has different sets of things happen in different ways. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm far from an expert here. You would think I would be. I'm not.
Me either.
I'm not.
But it makes sense that we'd prioritize Rosa, right? Like we want that managed service. We want to take advantage of all the goodness that comes with hosted control planes. You know, I mean, so
Yeah.
like Rosa makes complete sense that that's where we would start, or even ARO for that matter, right? Like it makes complete sense.
Yeah.
There was something else you were just talking. So ACM 2.9 dropped, right? And with that MCE, so multi-cluster engine, which is the operator that you use to enable hypershift, it dropped 2.4.1, and so like now you can roll like OpenShift 4.14 clusters into it, right? So when you can deploy, and what it does is it auto imports them into ACM. So when you start thinking about workflows and stuff like that, kind of like hey, I just created this cluster before. You'd have to go in there and manually import it, and then you could do like the GitOpsy things through ACM. Well, now it gets auto imported, and so if you have automation, right, you can actually drive that whole chain from going forward. So it's pretty awesome. Like the tech is getting awesome.
Yeah, the tech is getting cool. Getting cool. How long have you been at Red Hat now, Jonny?
I'm like a Red Hat senior citizen at this point. I'm at 7 years.
Oh yeah, you are a senior citizen. You're a senior citizen for sure. I'm at 3 years. I feel like I'm like not quite middle aged, but I'm on my way there.
Yeah.
And the tech is absolutely just it is changed and evolved so much, right?
Mm-hmm.
It really has. We should give that ACM topic. We should give that a couple months to bake, and then like do that on this show.
Yeah, I know Brad would love to come on here. I know he would. Like we had him on the admin show yesterday. Like he would love to come on and talk about it. So
yeah, we should do that. I like that we're using this this session right now as like our planning for next year's session.
Yeah, it's a way to do it.
Yeah, I love that our audience is very quiet. Like I'm literally afraid that we're missing comments from them because it's just nothing is happening in our chat. Our chat is normally so much.
Yeah, it is weird, and I can see like there are people watching, so it's just
we're not talking to ourselves. I don't think.
Let's see, no. Yeah, it's just us.
Okay.
Well, it's not just us; it's us and them. But like, it's just us talking.
This is talking. Weird. Weird. Aha! Nice. There we go.
Oh yes.
Right. So what else happened at QCOS? What was that talk you dragged me to? It was a good one. It was the one with the ice cream. Crossplane.
Yeah. Infrastructure automation.
Yes. I thought that was interesting. Do I have some additional information about etcd multi-tenancy on host control plane? No, because I'm not that smart. Let's just put that out there right now. I'm not that smart. If you look at the Hypershift repo, there are some architectural diagrams. The press release that they put out yesterday also had a pretty good architectural diagram as well to sort of explain it. But yeah, I can't. It's not literally multi-tenant. We've wallpapered over it. But we did get some we learned a lot about how to make etcd scale by doing that in ways that I don't necessarily think it has ever been asked to scale before for things that are not typically they're not really standard. It's kind of a whole thing. But yeah, I wish I had more information. I will be learning more about this. Like I said, so you mentioned, is it on roadmap for ARO? It absolutely is on the roadmap for ARO. Work has begun already. I can't speak to timelines or anything like that, like to say more, but I'll be learning more about this as it goes. So also whether or not we call it ARO or Arrow depends on my mood. Most people call it ARO, which then just sounds like Arrow. And I'm like, Arrow is a better name.
Yeah. So I was in the Navy, and so for a long time, like they would blast us if we used acronyms, right? If we like spoke the acronym instead of just the ARO instead of Arrow. And so like in my mind, I'm always probably going to say ARO. Like Rosa, I just see it as Rosa. But like ARO, I see it like A.R.O. And so like it's ARO.
I mean, and that conforms with the way the majority of the people say it. I'm just stubborn. I like Arrow, and I'm going with Arrow.
Yeah, I feel you.
It functionally sounds almost exactly the same. It's just a difference on the emphasis on the syllables changes whether or not is Arrow sounding like the word or ARO.
Yeah. And so I did a shameless plug. So Ben asked if we have any. You asked this question out loud about the multi-tenancy. We had William Caban from the etcd team on the Asking OpenShift admin live stream like 2 weeks ago, I think, or it was the week before Kubecon, and they did a deep dive on etcd, and they talked about like performance, and they did kind of touch on some of the things with hosted control planes and stuff like that.
Fantastic.
But that's another one. We could probably get William and those guys to come back on to come on here and then talk about etcd and hosted control plane. You know what I mean? Like really nerd out some more.
Oh yeah, we should. I don't know. Like I get so excited. I was explaining to somebody like the purpose of this show isn't to demonstrate that Hilliary and Jonny are very smart and talented people. It's for Hilliary and Jonny to get to learn about really cool things we're interested in from people who are smart and talented.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I love just being the dumb guy and just asking dumb questions. You know, just oh man, that's awesome.
I literally said the exact words. They pay me to be dumb, and yes. I love every moment of it. Like that's what I get paid to be here to do. Is I get to be dumb. I get to ask questions. I get to learn something. And you know, when the audience doesn't chime in and tell us what they want to learn, that means it's just like my interest driven.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm trying to find someone to teach us about video games.
And you would think that like that would be a popular topic, right? Because I think most of us that we've at least gamed at one point in our life, right? Like we've got the context is there.
Yeah, the context is definitely there. You've probably played a video game one time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm working on it. I know if you know somebody, please tell me so that I can ask them. I will beg, I will plead, I will ship swag. I only have a couple coffee mugs left, but I will send them one. Gosh darn it. Trying to attend KubeCon in March. Sorry, I like that I just like segued into reading the question.
Right.
Yes, I'm trying to attend KubeCon Paris in March. I hope to be a speaker. We'll see if that happens. Probably will know closer to the event for sure. But yeah, so I was going to say something else. We got into this whole segue about hosted control planes. Oh yeah, crossplane.
Yeah, crossplane.
Event-driven Ansible is more and more a thing. I think you've probably done more with it than I have.
The event-driven Ansible?
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, we had a group come on, some cats I used to work with, and that's about it. Like Andrew Sullivan has definitely done a lot more than I have with it, but yeah, that stuff is awesome. Like the event-driven, pretty much anything at this point. Like
yes,
that's the other thing with ACM. They're talking about like roadmap, right? Or future ideas pie in the sky is that they're going to have like event-driven cluster management, right? So you're going to have like these smart clusters. So hey, there's something happening from a capacity perspective, and then like this that's going to trigger some thing that's going to go out and do something that like either scales you up or out or whatever. And yeah, there's just so much happening. It's going to be so awesome.
There's so much happening. Yeah, I'm trying to get them to come on. There was a couple of event-driven Ansible proofs of concept in the SRE group. And I was like, this is pretty cool. I want to see what else we can do here. Like, sometimes it's like, hey, this is great. Would you be willing to come on a live stream and talk about it? Like, no. It is amazing. I guess not that amazing, but it's a little bit amazing how shy some of our colleagues are.
Yeah.
They're just like, that would be no. And I'm like, okay, will you teach me it well enough for me to do it? I guess somebody has to know this, right? And it's supposed to come on the show, working on it. Event-driven Ansible is a really cool one. That's really also a very neat evolving space right now. Mm-hmm. You were there for this, right? I got asked what do I think would make generative AI useful, right?
Yes.
And I was like, can I have a generative AI admin assistant that helps me keep my JIRAs up to date? This is all I want in life. I've asked my husband to write it for me, and he has not started it, so I don't know if he'll ever do it. But all I want is something that sends me Slack messages and says, hey, for this JIRA, what's going on? And I'll be like, oh, this is what's happening. And then it goes and it updates the JIRA card. And so I never actually have to work with the JIRA UI ever in my life again. That is what I want from generative AI.
Yeah. Yes.
It's just one of those things that I don't like using it. It makes me crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, don't even start on Jira. I'm in trouble right now with my lack of Jira use. So.
I was gonna say, who's yelling at you? Is the project manager, the program manager, or the agile practitioners?
A program manager.
All three people groups very opinionated about Jira usage, not necessarily aligned on the how.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That's
and I'm
why.
stubborn as hell, and I hate it. So I'm just gonna wait until you yell at, and then that's what happens. So.
I didn't used to mind. I actually didn't used to mind using Jira that much, and then they seriously redesigned their user interface, and it made it so much less usable that I stopped caring. I was like, I don't like to do this. You made it take me 5 times as long to do anything as it used to take me. I don't want to do this anymore.
Why are there so many menus?
Why are there so many menus? Why? Don't get me started. Never mind. I'm gonna end up complaining. Can we use GitOps to solve this? I feel like we could use GitOps to solve this.
Yeah.
This feels solvable with GitOps.
I agree. So what would you say your favorite session was?
My favorite session was actually the very last one I attended. It was like the last session of the conference. Oh, and I need to bring up the name of this. So this was about multi SBOMs. And there's a project that is open source that is doing it from that is doing this like multi SBOM thing from Cisco, from their open source office actually. And let me see, we did the crossplane intro deep dive. That was pretty cool. Oh yeah, the cluster API deep dive was a good one. Improving performance for up to 2,000 clusters. That was worth it. The identity-based segmentation, the new standard from NIST was a good talk. The person who was there is the person who published the standard, which I thought was really neat.
Oh, that is cool.
I didn't get to go to dungeons and deployments because it was standing room only and you couldn't get in the room anymore. So I gave up on that one, and I want to watch the recording. Yeah, it was a supercharge your software supply chain security strategy with multi SBOM integration. And the project is called Kube Clarity. Camel case that. So Kube, the way we spell Kube in Kubernetes land, and then Clarity, just capitalized, all one word. And I thought that was great. I had actually really been wanting to attend an SBOM talk this KubeCon because although I guess if we did do a stream at the end of December, this is what it would be about. I was hoping I could get them to come on, and I need to reach out to them. They said that they would reach out to me, but then they didn't. So that means I have to go find them.
Yeah.
That's life. That's life when you're a busy adult. So I like to end the year on something about security or compliance or so forth, because that's when we have to do our annual security compliance training is the end of the year. Yes, we just got the email. Just came out. So I like to just get it done and over with. I'm never a last minute person on that. I'm like, I get it off my plate so I never have to see this email reminder again. And then, but I like to do something security related, both through this and the nonprofit community that I run. I don't talk about that enough on this show, and I really should, because I want people to come to the talks and benefit from the talks. Like we did a technical overview at the beginning of the year. We did like a technical overview of cryptocurrency and like just the technology and how it works and the types and how they work. And like, it was neat. I had to do a bunch of research and learn a bunch of stuff because the person who had committed to do the talk backed out. And the only person I could find to do it on time was someone who she was like, I will happily do this, but I haven't really touched cryptocurrency in college. So we need to brush up. And she goes, and I expect you to do this with me. And I was like, okay. So I did. I learned a lot. Forgot it all. It's fine. Yes. I learned it well enough to teach the 5,000 foot view of the thing, right? Which is really great. But it's a community that I run so that talented people can share their talents with a community that needs that. Let me just pull this up. Boop, 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 boop. Anyway, Red Hat sponsors this actually. So Red Hat is a sponsor of this nonprofit. It's for women in technology. And then, so I created this community because when they started sponsoring the nonprofit, and I kind of like learned about it, and I asked the founders, I was like, hey, you've got like general women in tech stuff, but I don't see anything for women in software engineering. A lot of the things you have going on right now don't really meet my needs.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, you're right, we don't have that. That's a gap. Would you want to start something? And I was like, uh-oh.
Oops.
And then I said yes, because I don't know how to say no to anything,
Yeah.
apparently. And so, yeah, so we did this. We do, once a month, we do something called a Coding Coaches Coffee Hour, which is where we just kind of get on. It's not recorded. Ask your stupid questions. I will ask my stupid questions, and I definitely have them. Well, ask the questions, and then like just kind of go through skills for like how to do like passing code interviews, or how to upskill for code interviews, like strategies that we know work. It's not always about coding either. Like it's just like software engineering, anything related happens a lot. I've talked GitOps to this group a couple times. I've explained CI/CD to this group. We did. A lot of them were recorded, but a lot of the recordings aren't up, and you have to be a member to see it anyway. But anyway, so if you happen to be watching this and you are a Red Hatter, check the source, because you have a free membership to this community, regardless of like gender expression, identity, etc. And so this is it's obviously intended to be all inclusive. And I've been running this program for 2 years now. And I don't think I'm really bad about talking, like cross talking about the things that I do and all the places that I do them. But I've been running this program for 2 years. Probably 80% of the people who show up to our events do not work at Red Hat. So it's community facing. Yeah, it's great. We help a lot of people. I explained my strategies for salary negotiation one time. It was like the caveat of, hey, your results may vary. And so yeah, it's this is a thing that I do anyway. Where was I going with this? Right. So I end this community. I'm pointing to it like you can see what's on my screen, but you can't. But that's what I'm pointing at. That thing. I end this community every year on a security topic as well. So we actually have one coming up on December 5th. It's a Wednesday, I think. It'll be posted on the website soon. We have one coming up on December 5th. And like, she's a security expert. She's going to talk through like security stuff. I think she's also going to talk through incident response, like security incident response, which is a very important topic, but I have to double check the abstract. Don't quote me on that. The point is I like to end things on security. So both here on this show and there in that community and the webinars that we give, I like to end on security. And then we always kind of like top the year off on that side with like something like exciting. Because sometimes the technical topics can get dry. They're not applicable to everybody. We kicked off this community with a like engineering, it takes all kinds, a couple years ago. And it was like about like the different, like a huge, like, here's an introduction to like a bunch of different types of engineering. And it was like, we even acknowledged like, this is a subset of the entire like field. We're going to redo that actually, and give more perspectives, more stories from people who have done it. So that's how we're kick off January. And then we're looking for conversations and like speakers about generative AI actually over there as well, because that is a hot button topic that people should be paying attention to in terms of just like general like industry knowledge and career advancement. And again, we're going to get into more of like the technical pieces. And then I've asked somebody, I don't know if she'll be able to do it, so it's kind of iffy, but I asked somebody if she could get into the importance of diverse representation in AI and AI modeling and so forth as well. So that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to like that whole program as we go into what will be our third year of the program.
Nice.
Yeah, I am pretty proud of it. I think we built something kind of neat there. Just like I'm proud of this show, I think we've built something kind of neat here.
I agree.
It's just these little things that I do. Somebody asked me what's working at Red Hat like, and I said, "Oh, Red Hat is a choose your own adventure company. I chose hard mode."
Yes. Yes, to choose your own adventure. I don't know about hard mode.
Yeah, like what? Yeah, I chose hard mode. So yeah, what else did we do? We stopped by the Dynatrace, not the Dynatrace booth. I did stop by that at some point, I think, maybe.
Yep.
I usually do. We stopped by the Kepton booth, right?
Yep.
and said hi to Captain. Captain is also, so it's an open source project, also around observability, different than Robusta. They do different. It's just different, right? It's just different. I don't know how else to describe it. It just is. And then, so Captain mentioned that they've done a whole bunch of revamping and like streamlining their vision and so forth. And so they're hoping to come back on next year as well, which will be really exciting to kind of see what's going on there. And then a new project that I had learned about out of Microsoft is called Porter. And I didn't, when they explained Porter, I was like, wait, isn't that this other thing? And they're like, no. And we need to work on that. Because it was like, it sounds like dev containers, but it's not dev containers. And so like, there's like, that's kind of, but so that's a whole interesting space. Dev containers is also a very interesting space, just by the way. So those were like some highlights of like what we saw in KubeCon. And I hope we can do something. If we don't do it by the end of the year, then we'll kick off January here with something about this multi SBOM thing.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
It was a great talk. I don't always take pictures of slides. That talk I did take pictures of slides, and also her slides were just very well, like they were very professional. If anybody has ever seen me give a talk and my slides, first of all, you'll know that they're not pretty. And two, I may not even remember what's on them by the time I go to give the talk. This is a very real thing for me. So I've given up on using slides as a presentation tool. They're not for me. So the slides on that they were just, I told them, I was like, you could give this exact same talk again and we would be super happy with it because it was so polished.
Yeah.
But I think they were hoping to do obviously a little bit more, like we're not as what's the word I'm looking for that makes us sound, we are just more casual. There we go. Let's not use a negative. Let's use a positive. We are just more casual right here with our silly Christmas shirts and everything. I'm Jewish, whatever. Like, it's a Hanukkah shirt. Clearly, it's a winter shirt.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
I think they were hoping to do something a little bit more casual, talk a little bit more, at this level about it versus that very like formal, clean, pristine, everything. But yeah, it's a cool project. I liked it a lot. And I think that it tied really well into, everybody remembers Chris Short, I hope. He did start the show after all. He had posted something on, I think it was on LinkedIn about like, SBOMs they're not the end all be all of your supply chain security story. And like, yes, absolutely 110% that is true. They are definitely a tool, but they're not the silver bullet. But this multi SBOM thing was like, I think really demonstrated like kind of what he was getting at with his comments. It really demonstrated that, but also that you can instrument around the various limitations of different types of SBOMs and the depths to which they can go. Like you can instrument around that and still end up putting together a really good picture of what your supply chain looks like with, just with good tooling.
Yeah.
And I think that really gets down to like your security story ends up being a lot about what does your tooling look like? How much have you invested into like having good tooling?
Well, and when you think about it too, right? Like, yes, your SBOM is going to be one thing, right? But you're also going to take in somebody else's SBOM, right? Like, hey, here's my here's my proof that I built this to, up to snuff, right? Whatever requirements that I had to meet, here's my proof that I've got all the things in here that I said I've got in here.
Yeah.
And you're going to want to incorporate that, right? So it's like, it makes sense that you can take these different sources and then ultimately come up with a product at the end that says, not a product, but a thing, right? Yeah. At the end that says, hey, here's all the things, here's the sources where they came from, and now you've got this big picture. And it's, instead of you trying to generate everything in your pipeline or whatever, your CI/CD process, it's you're able to take some of those things in. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's it's another great tool for the tool belt. For those of us who are paying attention to these things, I know that at least in our SRE practice at Red Hat, we care. You know, we work directly on things with various security people to make sure that we're providing the best things that we can. I am very fortunate in that the product I work on happens to be in partnership with Microsoft, and so Microsoft does a lot of really great things in this space. Like, say, you know, I know people. I'd be the first to tell you I don't like using Windows. That's why I use Linux. But they have really done a great job on a lot of all of that stuff, and so we get to benefit from the Microsoft machine there because they have it down to a science. They really do how to be compliant, all of that other stuff. So that's great. I love working with people who are better at things than I am, so I don't have to be great at everything, and that delivers there. And that's also, I will say, true for our colleagues who work in supply chain security at Red Hat too. They're great. I like them. I like every time I have to work with them. They tell me great things, and I really appreciate them because we could not possibly be everything all at once. So people are awesome. People make things better. Tooling is awesome. Tooling makes things better. Put the two things together and you actually might end up somewhere awesome. I don't know. I'm tired. My brain hurts.
Yeah, one thing you were saying with your women in tech thing, like when I first came over from consulting to engineering, I was scared. I was like, oh my God, I'm the dumbest dude in the room, you know, because I was like, I'm not a developer, and that was pretty much like my pitch. Like whenever I talked, I basically like, hey, I'm a software engineer, I'm not a developer, and you know, like because I just wanted people to like, I was trying to level set that expectation. Like I'm dumb, and so my manager was like, dude, that's not what software engineer means. It means you can figure stuff out, right? You're a problem solver. That's the crux of it is that you're a problem solver. And so just something that I keep in mind when you're talking about that to your folks, right? About like if you see software engineer, don't get hung up on it being a, you know, you're writing code kind of thing. It's you're figuring a problem out and you're figuring out how to solve it, and you know, repeatedly figure out how to solve it.
Yeah. I still do a bunch of bash stuff. Right. Oh, we didn't even talk about the Busted Cube game at the one booth. That was fun.
Oh yeah. That's right. The training one.
The training one. What is the name of that company? I don't remember. And they do a lot of the CNCF training, I think. So they had this game. It was called Busted Cube, and they had like kind of like the chaos engineering game stuff that I had done in SRE that I've talked about on the show before, where you just set up an environment and it's broken and you send somebody to fix it because you give them clues as to what's wrong. They actually were way more generous with their clues than I was in the games that I ran, by the way. I was not generous with clues. We were mean. We were mean to our friends. It was a competition, okay? So we had that, and I realized very quickly that I don't remember how the Cube CTL works at all. Like that CLI and I don't. I only know the OpenShift one, and it mostly translates, but now and again it doesn't, right? So what was fun? So we were going through the thing, right? And so we do. You know, we did a couple edits or patches and some stuff to fix things up, add some ports or whatever, right? And so I and I know that there's also there's like two very fast ways of exiting VI and saving, right? So my preferred way is just to kind of like, you know, you hit escape, so you stop editing, and then :X, right? And then that's done. That's a right quit. Oh. There is another one which is ZZ will do the same thing. And then it's like, and that is the absolute most efficient keystroke way of quitting VI and saving is escape ZZ. Because it will, I think it's escape ZZ. I don't ever use it, so I don't remember, but pretty sure you have to quit editing, and then ZZ will get you out, right save. Anyway, so he was like, the guy who was kind of like had set up the game and everything. He was like, congratulations for being the first person of the day to know, you know, to know :X to exit and save. And I was like, I'm the ops person. Yeah. This is how you know.
Yeah. I'm old school Unix, man. Like I learned WQ bang, and that's what I know. Like it's faster because it's just muscle memory.
It's faster because it's muscle memory. That's true. So at the point at which like I was learning, X was the one I was taught. That's the one that I know. That's how I right quit. That's what I do. Is that your user?
No, I love the handle though.
I was like, I would believe that's your user. Wow, that is a great handle. No notes, 0 notes. Best handle, you win.
Yeah, that was good.
So yeah, so that game was fun. I love stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the booth crawl thing in the evening. I know we're at time, so it was the last story. So at the booth crawl thing in the evening, right? The CNCF actually had a live, like, head-to-head challenge of doing Kubernetes things. I will say that I was invited to participate in that because I'm friends with the person who organized it, and I was like, "Thank you so much for thinking of me. I am dyslexic. That is not going to happen." that is not going to happen, because if my dyslexic self attempts to type in front of an audience under pressure, you will get soup.
Yeah.
That's what
It's
you
that
will
much
get.
worse.
You will get soup. It's not commands. It's not. I you kind of saw this a little bit, Johnny, when you and he were both talking to me while I was trying to do that. That I couldn't maintain the order of the letters or anything to save my life. It, like, under immense pressure, I can tell you, like, verbally what to do,
Mm-hmm.
but actually, like, typing it, no, soup.
Yeah. I'm the opposite. Like I have to type it if there's people. I mean, eventually I get to the point where I might just shut up. But like kind of like when you're like, Johnny, shut up.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, I'm in your ear right now. My bad. Yeah, it's because my thing is if I'm trying to say it, like I think so much with my hands. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how to explain it. Like it's really weird, but like I feel my way through a lot of things. Like if I'm,
Mm-hmm.
like even when I'm trying to remember my password, like you'll see me.
My husband's like that. He knows his password from touch, but not by, like, he couldn't tell you it. And
Yeah.
so the other day it was very loud and he couldn't unlock his phone because it decided it was time to manually input the pin instead of the thumbprint. And he was just like, I can't
Yeah.
do that with all this noise. I can't remember the pattern. But yeah, no, so
Yep.
I don't personally relate, but my husband is that way, and I've lived with him now for 16 years. So, like, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a challenge. So. Oh man. Yeah, I had a good time though. I thought it was really well done. Like I think from there's a bunch of vendors out there doing observability things,
Oh yeah.
like on-prem, SaaS. I mean, just I felt like observability was probably like the theme from a vendor perspective, and then there was just some cool niche things out there too, right? I mean, like just um, people getting done, just like all the
Yeah.
kind of cool security things and stuff like that. So yeah, it was my first one to ever go to, and I had a blast. So, and it was cool to meet people in person, like, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I think from a vendor perspective, there were way more vendors at the North America one than there
Hmm.
were at the European one. But there were more, like, attendees, non-vendors at Kubecon EU.
Yeah.
So I think that's just probably like a factor of, like, where customers are versus where businesses are.
Hmm.
Kind of probably an interesting, like, relation to those across those two things. Observability is definitely it's constantly evolving space. I think we've talked about it a few times on this show in episodes past because it's something I care deeply about. Um, and so I think that the thing that I will say before I answer this question, the biggest takeaways, the observability, like, actually, like, just understanding the state of things is also extremely contextually, like, specific.
Hmm.
Like, context matters. You can watch certain things, like, universally, but, like, given the context of your workloads, they may not be important. And so then we get into things like the concept of, like, Dora DevOps metrics, which we talked about. I don't know. We had the Polaris people on, right?
Yep.
Polaris, come on, right? So, like, for example, of observability, you might, like, you might get also, like, a Dora DevOps metric in addition to your various observability things that would be like, if I have an incident, like, what's my mean time to resolve it? Okay, math time, right? Mean is an average. Median is the middle number of a data set, and the mode is the one that repeats the most often. And so this is my favorite example of why context matters for observability and DevOps related data. If you have a mean time to resolve, like, that's a good piece of knowledge to have. Like, what is the average time of resolution? But you might consider adding mode, Because if your mean is, I don't know, 15 minutes, but your mode is 5, you need to look into why that is the case. Like that matters, right? That's probably either something that is an alert is flapping, so maybe the parameters are too sensitive. So that means like when we say flapping, we mean the alert is firing and it goes away. Alert is firing, it goes away, right? This is very common with like Prometheus, but Prometheus is not the only way of alerting on things. So just FYI. So either an alert is flapping, or you have something that fires that is like very like easy to fix, quick to fix over and over and over again. And you probably need to be like fixing bugs. Either you need to be fixing bugs in your code, or you need to be shoring up your automation, whatever it is. 5 probably shouldn't be your mode, right? Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
That's an opportunity to get rid of alerts entirely, or get rid of incidents entirely. So that context on observability is really important, because it's like not just the what, but the why. And then that starts getting into like SRE things like critical user stories and SLOs relating to customer experience and all these other things that we'd like to wrap data around. And I think that's why there's a lot of different types of observability solutions, is they're looking at it from different angles. And so then you would pick an observability solution that meets your use case, or your business needs. Pick an observability solution that keeps your customers happy. There you go. So the question was, because we are super over time and probably have to go on with our lives, what's the biggest takeaway? What do you think, Jonny?
Oh, I don't know. I'm the wrong person to ask, like, because I think the way I just kind of went in it, like, and just yeah, my mind was just open to it all, right? I think for me that there's a lot of things that, we're at a point now where we've been trying to make it easy, but I think we realized that, like, okay, easy does not equal simple, and so now we're trying to go back and like we're working on automation, and we're working on some of these things to try and make it simple again, or get back to, or at least get to a simple plane for a lot of like deployments and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know, like there's I don't know if I have like a one takeaway kind of thing. I just kind of I can see where the industry is moving to kind of get back to, instead of like pumping out new features, it's more about that user experience now.
Yeah.
So that's a long ass way of saying all that to get to user experience.
Yeah. I'm gonna say there are two things. I really like your user experience answer, and I don't want to say that it's I'm going to agree with it and then say 2 other things.
Mm-hmm.
There was something I saw, I don't remember where I saw it at KubeCon, or if I saw it not at KubeCon, but during that same week, which was this concept of like, oh, hey, we have this maybe this was an XKCD that somebody shared at that time. It was like, you have this 2-knob system to guarantee that like we never do this risky thing without like appropriate protections, right? And then inevitably someone goes in and goes, okay, look, we've created this automation to like turn both knobs at the same time so that, this is faster. And then you realize that opens up a hole. So you go back to, we have a secondary check, right? So I think there was definitely that an important takeaway. And I think you see it in a lot of these, like this, especially like security related things, as the SBOM like mandate from the United States government, like really has changed the landscape of security and open source. I think we're seeing some of these like a manual step is sometimes a good step, is sort of a way that we're trending right now, is like that, like don't automate everything absolutely everywhere all at once. That introduces additional risk that we don't like. So we definitely are seeing that level of caution coming back. And it's coming back both through tooling and through like processes and standards and all of these other things that we have, right? So that's an important takeaway. The other takeaway is what I'm seeing in my opinion, because I've been to a couple of these KubeCons now, that the contents, the talks and so forth are representative of the state of the users. So a colleague of mine recently said, like, at first, like the cloud native transformation was like people thinking, okay, we're going to solve our problems by we'll just rub some Kubernetes on it, right? Which is hilarious and accurate. What I'm seeing now, like and I think a lot of the talks were really representative of, is the user base for Kubernetes is moving beyond that, let's rub some Kubernetes on it, and moving into actually like being more like mature and sophisticated in their cloud native journey. And that's why I think we're seeing things that have been like talked about for a while, like hybrid cloud architecture and like multi-cloud architecture and all of these other things. I saw more about that type of stuff. I didn't go to the talks because, of course, every talk I wanted to go to was at the same time as another talk I really wanted to go to. So I have to go watch a bunch of recordings now, which I hope are available finally. I haven't checked.
Yeah, I think they are.
I think they are. So I found personally that the contents of the talks that were given felt very representative of the general like placement of the average user within the industry, and that user is advancing along this journey of usage. And we see that in like there's big enterprise companies coming to these cons and giving talks about how they're using this technology, and you're like, wow, I thought you would be a dinosaur, and you're not, right? So the only dinosaur I saw was on my sweater that I was wearing at the convention.
That's right.
That's right. That's not true. There was another dinosaur I saw. The Bluefin is the name of that operating system, I believe, that we are having on next week. Yes, don't quote me. I'm so bad. And then I have a dinosaur logo, and he's very cute. He's very cute. I love dinosaurs. I think it's Bluefin. Somebody save me from my own bad memory. But yeah, so that was the takeaway, honestly. The cloud native community, the cloud native story is progressing such that it's not just very basic Kubernetes usage. You can't really call that bleeding edge anymore. This is a standard now. Obviously, for a long time, it was bleeding edge. That has changed. That's hence like things like adding like multi-year support to Kubernetes versions becomes imperative, right? This is a standard, not the bleeding edge anymore. It's still also the bleeding edge because it's still a highly evolving space. But that, to me, that was the takeaway. And I think we see that the sessions are really representative of like where users are in their journeys.
Yeah. I completely agree with that. I think that, I think that's a good way of seeing like, it's gone from like Jim Bob, the developer, getting stuff done to, Turbo, the user, actually using the system and like, okay, how does it look? How are they using it? How are they making it better? What's that feedback loop from the customer back to the, to the developer again? I don't know. I think it's cool.
Yep. Okay, well, we've been here for an hour and 12 minutes. I cannot believe 8 of you sat here and hang out with us while we talked about nothing for 12 minutes or an hour and 12 minutes. I think I love all of you. That's really the takeaway there. We'll be back next week to learn a little bit more about how CI works for operating systems. I'm excited. This is a thing I wanted to learn. Please, somebody find me somebody to do CI, CD, anything related to how testing, delivery, shipping is done for video games. I beg you, find me the person. Somebody knows somebody, and I want them on the show to teach me the thing I want to learn. In the meantime, Jonny, are you queued up? Are you ready to go?
I'm queued up.
All right. In the meantime, I'll remind you all to choose your technical debt wisely, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Yeah.